Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. So, as you've seen lately, things are not fucking going well at all, especially on the international stage with our new foreign policy of just do whatever the fuck you want and bomb the shit out of schools, apparently, and try to establish a foreign dictator who absolutely hates our country so that you can get involved into yet another fucking foreign forever war. And I just think that's kind of interesting that we're able to kill the guy's dad and his son and his wife, but yet somehow we miss him, even though he's next in line to be Ayatollah per their command structure, and then somehow, oh yeah, we accidentally strike a elementary school full of schoolgirls and we kill 140 little girls. That's whatever, we don't really care about little girls in this country anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But anyways, on that subject, I've been seeing a lot of people asking, why? Why is this happening? Why would Trump do this? Well, and I think there's probably a lot of reasons for something like this. I don't think you do this kind of thing just for the thrill of it. I don't know, maybe they're really that sick. But I also think that I have another explanation, at least one reason, or one more reason, for Trump to be doing this. Especially when it comes to Israel, and how they seem to be absolutely dog-walking Trump and telling him what to do. I mean, we all heard what Rubio said. He said that Israel was going to attack Iran anyways, and then Iran would have retaliated against us. So we had to go in and strike the shit out of them, even though what that sounds like to me is that Israel is not our fucking ally. It sounds like they're getting us into a whole lot of trouble, and have been for a long time. And so when it comes to Israel specifically, we need to look again back at the Jeffrey Epstein thing and ask ourselves, is Trump being blackmailed? Because I see it at this point as much more likely that he is being blackmailed by Israel, at least because of something that happened with Epstein, if not more, than it is that he's not. So let me run you again through some of the facts that we know for certain so that I can explain to you why it is more probable than it is not. So we start in the early 90s. Trump and Epstein, they hung out all the time. They hung out all the way up until about 2004 when Epstein started having trouble with the law. We know that the two of them were basically like best friends, as Jeffrey Epstein had described it. And this is well in the territory of when Epstein started hanging out at his New York townhouse in Manhattan, New York. The one that was eventually given to him in the 2000s by Leslie Wexner for still the reason we don't know why. But Epstein was hanging out there as early as like 1993, 1994, which is also just a couple years after he met Trump. So Trump, for sure, went to Epstein's townhouse on numerous occasions during that time period. That's also the time period now that we see that a lot of these allegations are happening with some of the files that were recently released because they contain Trump's name. Something about him, getting pissed off at some young girl, like a 13 or 14-year-old, and having his dick get bitten by this girl and screaming at her, and him showing up to orgies where there's a whole bunch of teens and basically no women over the age of 18 at these things. And that's not the only thing. We also have one of the neighbors from Nick Shirley's channel. I've showed this before on this channel. We have Nick Shirley interviewing one of the neighbors. Here, take a look.
You want to know who I saw going in there? Everyone you've heard about.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you name any names?
Yeah, you know them all from the newspaper.
Did you see Bill Clinton going there?
Who?
Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Bill Gates?
No.
Trump?
Yeah, I think of the other ones.
Right, so she's personally said that she has seen Trump go in and out of this New York townhouse. This is the same townhouse where the FBI released the list of seized items that they took after Epstein was arrested back in 2019, and it is absolutely a honey trap blackmail network of technology that Epstein had in this townhouse. We're talking about servers, we're talking about cloud keys, backup tape cartridges, LTO Generation 6 devices, many different laptops, cameras, audio recorders, everything that you would need to collect blackmail. And then in the room of this townhouse where we see the quad monitor setup, where Epstein was likely getting all of this feedback from all of his devices in the house, all of these recordings, audio and video and whatnot, we also see next to this setup where he could compile videos, a whole bunch of fucking packing materials. We see boxes, we see packing tape, we see packing peanuts, all kinds of stuff. Even like those paper rolls that you use where you tear off pieces of paper, and so you can pack delicate materials, potentially like, I don't know, CDs, USBs, even like the inserts for some of those servers, the hard drives for those, because they come in and out really easy. So just with all that right there, you tell me why Trump certifiably isn't being blackmailed, and Epstein didn't have him over one time and catch him on tape doing some shit that he shouldn't have been doing, perhaps in one of the various bathrooms with a telephone and a bench in them. We also know from Stephen Hoffenberg in the late 90s to the early 2000s at some point, after the whole Tower Financial Corporation thing, Stephen Hoffenberg told us that Epstein was passing secrets about Prince Andrew to Mossad, which is a huge, obvious link to Mossad. We also now know that Epstein had Mossad agents, literal agents, coming over to that townhouse to stay on occasion for like weekends and stuff. You think he could have passed something like a USB drive or a CD to them? I think so. And then we look at Epstein's whole binder thing. He had that go bag at Little St. James Island where he had like a bunch of loose diamonds, passports, fake IDs, some clothing and other paraphernalia, everything that you would need to like run to the other side of the earth with and start a new life or something. But then we see also that he had like 5 or 6 of these binders, like those CD binders, the ones that you put the CDs in, just filled with CD. And somehow the FBI forgot to mention that specific item when they came out with their seizure list initially, the seizure list for Little St. James, which we now have. So it's very interesting. So just ask yourself, is it more likely that Trump did have blackmail collected on him and that it is still being used against him? And it is at least part of the reason why he's willing to do this with Iran and stir up a whole bunch of problems and go to war? Because you know what else too that I just realized? This is exactly what intel agencies do in every country. China has admitted to this. With their People's Republic of China, their civilian spies basically, they cast a wide net. They get all kinds of intel on anybody that they might even suspect of being somewhere adjacent to politics in the future, which is exactly what Epstein did. Or is it less likely that, Epstein didn't record him with all that surveillance technology? Even if he did, well, he must have not have passed it on to anybody. A guy like Epstein, what a saint. He wouldn't sell that stuff to people. That would compromise our national security because Trump's president now. He wouldn't do that to his friend. No, it's absolutely the case that it is, I think, in my opinion, 85% plus probability that Trump is currently being blackmailed by Mossad. Potentially other countries. Apparently China just hacked into FBI servers and took terabytes of data, some of which pertain to the Epstein files. So God knows what's happening there. But I really do think Trump, at least as our president, is being compelled, at least partially, by blackmail material. And that's really all I had to say for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
And we have 7 dead Americans and at least 140 injured. And a bunch of Iranian kids who were tragically killed in an accident. And, we need to get more information on that. We need to put some processes in place to make sure that doesn't happen again.
That's okay, just don't let it happen again.